Can I be around you for motivation? Just a little while. A simple question.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another podcast episode of the Limitless Podcast. I'm Larissa, your host, and today we're going to talk about toxic positivity and hustle culture. So, I wanted to do both separately, but I just feel like I realized in the end that they just both go hand in hand, because we went through this phase of like, as they say, like toxic positivity, and as they call it, toxic positivity, where you're constantly being like, I have to be positive, and nobody's talking about problems and stuff, which I went through it too, but it was like, I guess, a different reasoning behind it. But also a hustle culture, we went through both of those phases as humans. For a while it was like, it was all about, all be positive, stay positive all the time. And then, hustle culture, hustle, 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 work hard, no fucking breaks, no nothing. And I was like, you know what? We're just gonna talk about both in one episode because, like I said, they just go both hand in hand. And I feel like separately is just pointless to do. So, first, we're gonna talk about toxic positivity. What do I mean by toxic positivity? Toxic positivity is basically when you are only talk about how to say this, like only talk about positive things or pretending that everything is all good and dandy, that there's no problems, that you're never going through problems, and just pushing the narrative of positivity like hardcore, like on steroids type of deal. So, yeah, we went through one of those phases. I went through it too, but it was mostly like because I was, going through, like my spiritual development and learning about spirituality and and also like learning about psychology at the same time. And I was just honestly in a good mind state. My mindset was on point. I was just feeling really resilient as fuck. I was just doing great, and I was just, promoting positivity all the time. But also at the same time, I wasn't really talking about my problems or my struggles or anything like that, because before that, like, I also never talked about my history, what I went through. So it was not all like, oh, I was pretending and I was pushing this narrative of, oh, be positive, only positive thoughts. It was more like I was just trying to help other people, to be quite honest. You know, a lot of people, or we just generally, it's really easy to fall into this negative narrative and just be negative all the time and complaining and whatnot. And me being, basically a healer and trying to help people, and really just a bubbly personality, I would say. Obviously, I'm a motivational speaker. On the other hand, obviously, I wanted to help other people, motivate them, and just be like, stay positive and don't fucking, don't stay in this negative cycle because it's not worth it. But obviously, in the end, as we came across, toxic positivity and stuff like that, I also realized that I was sometimes there was a time where it came where I was just like not doing really well and stuff like that. And then it came to a point where I was like, actually, I want to talk about my story and my life and what I experienced before so I could help other people. I just felt really afraid to talk about it. It felt like a dark secret. Like I don't want to talk about it, or I just tell people that are really close to me. That was usually the deal. But I just wanted to open up to share my experiences and so many more things, because that's how other people relate. Just relate to like, oh, positive affirmations, or for like positive words or whatever it is. It's experience. And I was like, if my experience and what I went through and what I have, progressed through and what I have healed can help anybody, then I will fucking share this, right? So, I slowly then also started to share like more and more stuff on my stream, more and more of my vulnerability, which it was a lot. Also, it's hard to be vulnerable, For the longest time, vulnerability was seen as something like, oh, you're weak and oh, you shouldn't show this. And also, like, who wants to show it, It's almost like you open up a wound to everybody and then you could get stabbed and it could hurt even more. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying per se this, but you know what I mean? It is like that. So yeah, like slowly I became more comfortable being vulnerable because I realized that being vulnerable doesn't mean I'm weak. It just means that, I am really fucking brave to open up like that. So I opened up more and more, and obviously we came across toxic positivity. And I realized that I was doing that for a while, kind of unconsciously. I guess it could have been toxic positive, but not really. I was just going through so much self discovery with my spirituality, with like studying psychology and shit like that. I just realized so many fucking things, and honestly, I just wanted to share it with other people. And I was just really passionate about wanting to help other people and open up people's eyes and stuff like that. Like, why the fuck not? But obviously, I just realized, I guess that was toxic positivity in some way, shape, or form. That's why I like now, when I talk about certain things, I always make sure to be like, to always talk about the bad stuff too. That's why here I have the podcast here. We're not just gonna talk about all positive stuff and like motivating shit, but also the real shit that maybe people think it's taboo to talk about, or again, relatability, so we're all fucking honest with each other and you can be like, yep, Larissa, yeah, I relate to this so fucking much. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, like I don't know. It's just it's a lot, honestly, to think of this whole concept of being like, wow, toxic positivity exists. Some people are like hardcore pushing it and they're like not even like being vulnerable or showing sides of other situations, but that could also be connected to their experience. Maybe they're just not brave enough to do it. But I'm glad that I came to that point where I realized what I was doing, but also showing more facets of me and what I was experiencing. And as now when I do motivational speaking and stuff like that, I always point out all sides. I'm like, yeah, like, I had this experience and this shit, and I recently went through something, and I am just more open. I'm way more of an open book than I was, like, at least like almost 10 years ago. Not even fucking comparable, to be fucking honest. But I'm glad. But I'm really glad because now I can talk about positivity and work on your mindset and motivation on a such deeper and higher level, and I'm just really, really freaking happy about that. But as I mentioned, hustle culture, that was just another period, as it was with toxic positivity, that we had with hustle culture for a long time. Obviously, as I was going through spiritually, developing spiritually and mentally and stuff like that, I was just like also like working on my own stuff. Obviously, I'm really generally baseline, just really ambitious, really hungry. I know what I want. I have my goals and dreams, and I'm working towards things. And obviously, I was in this phase too where I was like, you know what, hustle hard, work hard, put all on your dreams. I'm still am, brisk, do stuff. You only have one life. Why the fuck would you just sit there and just do absolute nothing, or, be too afraid to go after things? Trust me, I've been there. But yeah, also, we all came to this realization that that is fucking toxic. Again, another thing that we realized that was toxic was hustle culture, being like, you just work, hustle, do, like, oh my god, if you don't do this, like, what are you doing? And it's just like bum. I wasn't in particular like talking about hustling in a bad manner or like being toxic or anything, but I was like pretty passionate about like, trying to motivate other people about it because, I feel like, at least that's my perspective and opinion, but what the fuck is the point of life if you have no goals and dreams to go after? There was one situation when I was like still going out. It was like, I don't know, like 5 years ago, maybe a bit, yeah, 5 years ago, I guess. And I was at a club or at a bar where I usually went out, and I met this guy, dude. Like it was such a weird fucking experience because I mean there was other things that was weird and just whatever, but it was more like the dude had his own company, but guess what? He had no fucking goals and dreams. I was like, what are your dreams? And he was like, nothing. What are you working towards? Nothing. And I'm like, what? And I thought to myself, how can you even have your own company then? I'm so fucking confused. So like, it is mind-boggling to me that there's people out there that legit, they're they're not working towards anything. Like, the dreams and goals don't have to be just like big fucking companies and big ass shit. It can just be like personal goals or, trying to improve or whatever, mental wise or whatever it is. So it's just really weird. But yeah, getting back to the topic, it's, I think we all kind of went through both of the phases, but in particular, like the hustle one, a lot of people, it's almost like the energy came together where people were working hard and stuff. And, obviously dreaming big. I still dream big and I really love to work. But yeah, overworking yourself to oblivion in any shape or form, even like, in a fucking 9 to 5, fucking sucks, man. And I can already hear it being like, but this is normal. But this is normal. Everybody is. And man, we could talk about this in another fucking episode or something. But generally, like overworking and over pushing yourself to burnout is not fucking good. I've been there a bajillion times where I pushed myself so much to the point where I've hit burnout so many times. And, if you don't know how burnout feels or you never experienced it, it basically is like you start neglecting things in your life, that you maybe love to do or you have to do, and certain things you're still doing, but you're not doing everything. And then everything gets out of balance and you start feeling burnout. Especially if you're over pushing in something and maybe it's also not fulfilling or you're not seeing results, or yeah, you can get there fucking easily. And I've been there so many times. And yeah, I also had to learn throughout the years, connecting to this whole hustle culture and stuff, that it's healthy to take breaks and stuff. It's just, yeah, like it's crazy how, like, mindset wise, we all have evolved and realized that we've been doing so many things wrong, even though they are, like on the base of it all, it is positive and it's considered positive, right? But it is not, I guess, in some way. It's so fucking interesting. Like, I'm so interested in other people's opinions about it because, yeah, we all went through both of them as a whole, You would think that thinking overly positive is like fucking good. But if you, I guess, suppress your feelings on the side and you're not honest with yourself and you're just blindsiding. I mean, I'm not saying, oh yeah, be delusional or, fake it until you make it. Not at all. But if you're like ignoring things or ignoring your emotions or pushing down stuff inside of you, then that's just fucking bad. You know what I mean? So, and it's the same with hustle culture. If you keep just go, 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 and you just give yourself no fucking breathing time, no time to reassess, no time to be like, you know what, I need a motherfucking break. It's just like, yeah, there are so many things that were so frowned upon for so long until we came to all these realizations. And it's freaking crazy. I'm just glad that we have evolved when it comes to both, realizing that, obviously, I mean, this is not a new realization, but like realizing things as a whole, that, there's more things than just being positive, that we can be vulnerable and that we can show that there's more facets of life than just being positive. It's completely fine to be positive all the time, with the sprinkle of just being honest that, oh God, I need a break, or I've been overdoing it, or I don't know, I haven't spent that much time with my family, or fuck, I've been neglecting things, and just, like taking that accountability and being honest with yourself. You know what I mean? It's just an interest. Yeah, it's just like I said, I went through both of those. topics. I went through both. I experienced both. And it's so interesting to come on the other side of it and just see everything in such a different light, because, now, for example, since I'm in also the spiritual community, I like looking at manifestation and stuff. For a while, people are like, you have to be positive, obviously. I mean, you know how law of attraction works. If you think shitty thoughts and shitty feelings and have a shitty mindset, like, what the fuck do you expect for your life to be, right? But, like, for the longest time, I thought that, like, there is no other way to manifest, right? Obviously, you have bad days and shit, but there's no other way until, I listen to, I see her as like my mentor in a way. She's not like legit like mentoring me, I wish, but I see her as a mentor, somebody that I looked up to be like her in the future. Her name is Catherine Zinkina. She's the owner and founder of Manifestation Babe, and she had a podcast once that she was talking about. She was like, wow, I just came to this realization that I can even fucking manifest on my bad days, because it's completely fine to have bad days and bad feelings and shit. It's all good and normal. It's all good and normal, and you can still manifest. And with that, I just, dude, like, my brain and my mind just opened up. I was like, wait, you can manifest when when you're thinking bad or having bad days. Yeah, everything's subconscious and unconscious. As long as that's fixed, it's all good. Again, so many topics that I'm gonna talk about in the future, and like future YouTube videos and podcasts and stuff. But yeah, this whole thing goes hand in hand, because it's, if you went through this phase of like toxic positivity, obviously you had to go through the hustle culture too, because you were like, oh my god, so positive, I have to blah blah blah. And then you went through, I have to work, hustle hard because everybody's doing it. And then if you weren't, you were feeling guilty. Like, I was so many times, it took me years and such a long time of patience and work for me to feel comfortable with taking breaks and telling myself, do I need a break? Listening to my body, my mind, and everything. And also just, listening to my mind and everything, and being aware of when I have to stop or even take a break for fucking 10 minutes, But also just, realizing and being more aware of the seasons of life, being like, oh, now I'm reaping what I've planted before, and now is a period of like, rest, and then so on and so forth. There's so many more facets to both of these topics, because honestly, we all are going through life, let's be fucking realistic. It's not fucking easy to always be fucking positive. Like, imagine, God forbid, that somebody dies and it's like, what do you just fucking, you just tell yourself like, it never happened. Like, no. Sorry. We're all fucking humans in the end. We have feelings, and we have a heart and a soul, and how the fuck can you just sometimes not feel bad or have a bad day or a few days even, We all sometimes feel the need to stop and reflect and whatever. That's why life is there, so we can like reassess and maybe change direction. And like I always say, not in the sense of like giving up, but things that happen in our lives also shape our path. As long as we stay in our path and we're driven and we're focused, even if bad shit happens, doesn't matter. But everything, we have to kind of almost like take everything in account. Everything honestly just matters, So yeah, it's just, I'm just glad that we also came out of this really really fucking toxic hustle culture, because on some point it even started to affect me. Like I said, I felt bad for taking breaks, and I felt bad if I was not on the top or whatever. Like, I still, like, working hard gives me I love it. It makes me happy, and I'm also kind of, still kind of learning that even if I don't work, it doesn't mean that I'm not worthy, or that, I still kind of feel guilty or whatever. But it's not to that extent. I have evolved and come so far when it comes to where I was with this mindset, because like I said, we were all pushed to be like, oh my god, you have to fucking keep on going. And as people progress and made changes in their life, and if you didn't, you just felt like a motherfucking absolute loser, let's be honest. So like I said, I'm just happy we came all of that stronger, and we have evolved, and we have more of a healthy perspective on all of these things. That we realize to do things in moderation, in balance, as much as you can. Like, balance is kind of like you do things almost in balance as much as you can, and obviously have a motivation for something in life, and not just be there and lifeless. Like, people talk about it all the time, but there's a lot of people that are like legit, they're alive, but they're dead at the same time. They're walking dead people because they either have given up, or they have no purpose, or whatever it is. And it's just, wow, it's mind boggling to think about it, obviously, because in some ways I've been there, not fully, but I've been there, especially with like depression and stress and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm just glad that we have taken so many things in consideration, that we're still supporting each other when it comes to hustling, and supporting each other with like small businesses and whatnot. But everything in more of a healthy way, and a healthy perspective, pretty much. I really honestly had fun talking about this topic, because like I said, I went through both of these, and I was just like, yeah, this is gonna be a really fucking cool topic to talk about at the same time. So yeah, guys, I hope you all enjoyed today's podcast episode, and I will see you in the next one. Love you all so freaking much. Bye.